Hello everyone, Lady Rose here with you today. Now I wanted to do this video because a lot of you have been asking about how to cast spells, how to use some of the ingredients in spells that you've purchased from me or from other sources, how to use the spells that are pre-mixed that I have here, and I'm going to show some examples of those, and what to incorporate, like how to actually physically do a spell. So there's no really right or wrong answers per se, but sometimes it's often hard to know where to start. So one of the first things you want to start is by casting your circle. Now I'm not going to go into detail on that. In fact, I think I already have a video up about how to cast a circle. So this really should be something that you do before any kind of spell work. Now you don't have to do it, like every time you want a little wish or something like that. Like, I came from a Catholic upbringing, so when we say a prayer, we do in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Now, in old Catholicism, the crossing of yourself was not a crucifix, it was an equal length cross. So for me, I now incorporate that into my witchcraft practices and pagan practices, as I use this as a quick way to kind of cast a quick circle when I'm doing quick magic. When I'm doing full ritual, like under the full moon or new moon or whatever it might be, that's when I tend to, start in the east and welcome the guardians of the east and blah, blah, blah. So I would suggest you go and look for that video of how to cast a circle, because that's how to cast it and how to open it when you're done the spell work. So this is what you do once you have all that set up, okay? So a lot of people have been asking about love spells in particular. So I thought I'd go into love spells a little bit. Now there's, all kinds of love spells out there. Take what you need and use what you want or what resonates with you from this video, from other sources, that sort of thing. The only warning that kind of comes with love spells is you have to be very careful. Love spells are probably the trickiest spells to do because there is so much emotion involved in love spells that they're very strong, powerful spells, even by accident sometimes. The other thing too is if you're projecting it at a particular person, then it can border on interfering with that person's free will. And that is a huge no-no. Even the angels cannot interfere with our free will. Like I always say to clients, if you want angels to help you, you have to ask for the help. Then they can intervene. But they cannot, until that point, do anything for you because they are bonded and bound by the free will contract. As humans, we have a bit more wiggle room. We are allowed to interfere with it, but it's not a good choice. It's kind of like we're also allowed to, well, we're not allowed to, but we also can make the choice to murder. Not a good choice, though. Same thing with interfering with someone and trying to make them fall in love with us. So be very careful. It tends to be a better thing and serve you better when you leave love spells open a little bit with some wiggle room. But I am going to go into, different details of love spells. So most of the time, like sometimes people will get an ingredient. This one happens to be penny Royale. And this one, and rose is a very big one in love spells and whatnot. So this one happens to be penny Royale. So it does things like it increases energy, brings harmony to the home, which is always good for, love spells that are within a marriage kind of thing. Calms heated tempers in relationships. So this is definitely a great ingredient in any kind of reconciliation. I want to get the fires going again. I want to reconnect with my partner, that sort of thing. It protects from evil, gives strength, and helps break curses and hexes. So this is often used in that, breaking of curses. It's a great travel protection. It's often used with mugwort, which is also another great, it's called the traveler's herb. And then it also heals troubled marriages. So this is often used in, love spells that are concerned about marriage or long-term relationships that need to be reconnected or healed in some way. But the thing about this is not the end all be all. It's kind of like, like if you have cinnamon, you have a bottle of cinnamon and you say to yourself, I'd like to make a cinnamon cake. Well, that's great. Or a spice cake. Well, that's great. However, you have the cinnamon, but you don't have the nutmeg, you don't have the brown sugar, you don't have the flour, you don't have the eggs. You need things to come together. So more often than not, and especially if you want a powerful spell that actually works, you have to kind of create a bit of a recipe. Now, I do have recipe spells that are ready to go. Like, for instance, in stock right now, I have one that helps heal marriages, but that one's gone right now. But the Rosemary Bridal Blessing one. So you get the actual mixture of all the herbs that come together for a bridal blessing so that the marriage starts out well and there's bliss and harmony. It comes with the candle that's kind of color coordinated. So when you get these kind of kits from me, they're about $20 or so. You get the herbs, you get a candle, and you get a mesh bag as well. So you can do a few things with these things. Now the candle indicates also what colors are good for that spell. Like if you have blue ribbons, if you have any blue crystals, that's if you want to use another blue candle, that's all well and good. And then, like one of the more popular ones I have is Come to Me Love Mixture. Now the nice thing about this is it's got the pink gauze bag and it's got the pink candle. Excuse me. And it's a very powerful mixture, and it says, when you've met the right person and would like to become closer, this bottle's magical energy will help you along. It's very potent, but it's also very good if you're just looking for love and you want to open that door for love. So you can do one of a few things. Okay, so I'm going to open this up and show you what comes inside, and I'll give you some of the basics of what you can do. So you can see that inside this little gauze bag, there's a bottle. Now I'm repackaging a lot of my things, so I'm gonna put them into smaller, sort of almost baggy kind of things. It's just easier for shipping for Etsy and stuff, but you'll also get actually more mixture in the new plastic bags. And it's actually kind of hard to get this out of the bottle a lot of the time. So it'll be way easier out of the bag. So what you can do, and in this particular love spell, I've also included a little scroll for you, okay? I'll tell you what this is for. So when you get this and you open it up, there's enough in here, and now in the new packaging you're going to be getting it even more, is you can use a third of it in your bag. You tie this up and you have a ritual bath. So this is before you cast circles and things like that. A lot of times you'll have a bath, and this is to keep so that the herbs don't go all over your tub and they stay in the bag. So it's kind of like a tea bag. And you get in your tub, you have your ritual bath, you go and cast your circle, and then you can take another third of this and you dress your candle as it's said. So the way you want to do this is you usually use some oil. Now you could use some lovely rose massage oil because it's a love spell. You could use even kitchen olive oil and that sort of thing. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sprinkle the herbs onto the candle. So there's a couple of different things that you have to be aware of when you're sprinkling the herbs onto the candle. But even before you do that, you may want to draw into the candle special markings. Like you might want to draw a heart. You might want to draw your initials, might want to draw your lover's initials, whatever it might be. And then from there, you dress it with the oil. And if you want love to come to you, you start at the bottom and you go to the middle, and you start at the top and you go to the middle sprinkling it with herbs in that direction. Because what you're doing is you're bringing love into you. If you want to banish something, you start in the middle and move out. Middle and move out. Okay? So, and you can rewatch this as many times as you want. A lot of these principles I'm showing you are principles you can apply to any spell, regardless of whether it's a money one or a love one or whatever it might be. Now, when you're burning this candle, if you get this kit, you can unroll this little scroll and you can write your lover's name on it. Try to write it 3 times if you can, and then write your name over top. It's a form of binding that you're doing. And then what you want to do is you kind of want to bind this with ribbon or twine, whatever works, kind of thing. And like a lot of people are like, well, how do I make this stay up? There's actually a really easy way to do this. So don't be afraid of the little candles. You can use the little candles. However, I do say the longer the candle, the thicker the candle, the more the commitment you're getting. I just include this as a candle within the spell so that you have everything you need to use with it. So you can get a little container and you just pour salt or sand. Boom, there's your candle holder right there. So you don't have to worry about buying special candle holders or anything like that. And then you can also take the last little bit of this mixture and carry it around on you in your purse, in your coat pocket, whatever it might be, in your backpack, so that it acts as an attractor to love coming into your life. Because plants, like crystals, send out vibrations as well. Now that is one way of doing it. And like I said, this is sort of a pre-mixed, ready to go. So some of the herbs you can use, like roses are obviously the big go-to one, but it's good to know which roses are best for which spells. So for instance, a lot of people would go to red roses for love, and red is actually the color of lust and passion. Nothing wrong with a good sex life. If you're going to have a lover for life, you want them to be good in bed. So mix in some of those red roses. Put in pink roses. Pink roses are actually the more powerful of the roses and the most potent ones because they are bonding roses for true and deep love, long-lasting love. Yellow roses tend to be more for friendship. So if you want friendship, that's great. If you want purity, then you use white roses. White roses can also be used for honoring ancestors because they're often called the funeral flower. And then occasionally you might see blue roses, and they're more for fidelity and that sort of thing. But hopefully with pink, you've got the true love and fidelity kind of covered. Yeah, my fidelity mixture is definitely sold out. It's like, that's a big seller. Now, so when you start burning a candle, this candle you could probably burn in one sitting. Now, some other candles, like let's say you wanted to use one of these kind of candles, you can use these for love spells as well. They have mixtures already mixed on them because they're my fairy candles. So they have things that will bring in love and healing and happiness and whatnot. So they have the mixture already on them, but you can also take your own mixture, whether you buy pre-mixed stuff from me or whether you buy some extra roses and want to put them on top as well. You can also, sprinkle a little onto the candle. These ones are a little harder to do that with, but you could. The other ingredients you can use is hibiscus berries or leaves, or a combination of the two. Strawberry leaves is another big one that's used in love spells. Rosemary, especially, the rosemary bridal blessing, that's a hint of what's in there, rosemary, because it does increase joy, but also domestic bliss and that sort of thing. Passion flower, obvious reasons why that's used. Blue vervain, it's a very powerful herb, and it is sort of keeping them true blue, Pine buds are often used in love spells, especially ones where you want to reconnect, you want a happy marriage, you want to marry this person kind of thing, because pine buds bring abundance and prosperity. And that's always a good thing to have in a relationship, because if you don't, there's a lot of fighting that can happen. So it's best done if you're going to do a love spell. There's no hard and fast rules. If it feels right to you in that moment, then definitely take that moment to do it. I think I just saw a fairy. But overall, the best kind of time to do it is on a Friday. And a Friday of a new moon, in a new moon energy, or in a full moon energy. You don't want to do a love spell unless you're trying to break up with the person in a waning moon, because it just won't happen that easily then. It'll make it harder for you two to get together. So you might have some roses and some penny royale and let's say some passion flower, and you've got those mixed up. If you want to do that, your own kind of recipe. It's always best to do a recipe. One, like if you just put roses on a candle, that alone won't necessarily do anything. So it's always best if they work, especially in a trifactor. So I tend to do any of my spells or any of my fairy candles with 3 herbs or mixtures in 3. So like if I use 6 ingredients or 9 ingredients and so on. When you get to 12, you're using a lot of ingredients there. It might kind of lose some of its value. So you can light this candle, like a honey candle is a great candle to use. A lot of times there's a honey jar spell as well. So you can use this candle, a honey candle, or you could use a straight up jar of honey. And what you do is you'd put your candle right in the jar of honey after you've written on your little piece of paper. Like I include the little scroll, but you can use a little piece of paper. You put the paper in the honey, and then you also put the candle in the honey. You light the candle and you meditate over that and visualize what your life will look like with this person in it, and how much better it'll be, and all these good things, right? Now, another thing, so once you do that, there's a couple little incantations you can say. Now, you can say it when you're carving into this honey candle or into any candle. If you put a little honey on it, along with the oil. Before you carve, you would just carve and then you'd put the honey and then you'd do the oil in that order kind of thing. So just like this honey, so sweet, that's how blank will be with me. So blank is obviously the name of your lover. Or you could say that's how my new love will be with me, if you don't know who your new love is and you just want to invite love into your life. So that's a little incantation you would do while you're carving and dressing. Once you light the candle, and also too, you want to bind it. Okay, so you can take a red ribbon, a pink ribbon, much like the roses, a yellow ribbon, a blue ribbon, and you bind it around, and with an outside candle outside of a honey jar. Now, the honey if you use the honey jar and put the paper in and put the candle in, you don't eat that honey. Like, that's not for eating anymore. You're donating this jar of honey. And if you're doing it on a candle, you would take this and you could wrap ribbon around the candle to bind that to you guys. You can use different crystals as well, have them around the base of your candles or on your altar or whatever. Obviously, a good one is rose quartz, and most people know what that looks like. It's a pale pink kind of quartz. I'm sure it looks white there, but it's actually pale pink. So you could use rose quartz as an obvious one. Strawberry quartz is also another good one, because strawberry leaves are a good one to include in the mixture. You can actually use strawberries too. I wouldn't recommend them in the mixture like that you're going to put on your candle, because strawberries tend to be kind of juicy and stuff. But there's nothing wrong with having a bowl of strawberries on your altar and then you eat them, knowing that you're ingesting the love that's about to come into your life. So you could do that as well. Now with this candle, like I said, you could carve into it a heart or 2, your initials, your lover's initials. You could, in this candle, you probably have room to carve in love, the word love if you wanted to, forever, whatever resonates with you. Then you bind it with the ribbon and then you burn it. And when you're burning it, a little incantation you can do then is our fate is bound. Our fate is bound. We are one, so mote it be. It is done. Okay, so you can do that with a single candle, and I highly recommend beeswax candles because honey's built right in. That's a huge thing for love spells. Or if you want to bring someone together, I don't have two of these, but I have 2 candles. What you can do is you can write your name on one candle and your lover's name on another candle. Do the heart carving, the love carving, whatever you want to do. Dress the candles. Like I said, you know, like you would put, well, you wouldn't put honey on this one. This one's also beeswax, by the way. So since you're not having to put honey on it because there's already honey built in, you would be dressing it with the oil, whatever your oil of choice for love is. And then you would be sprinkling from here to here like this, bringing love in to you, bringing it in. You would do the exact same with this candle, bringing it in to you. And then what you can do is you can start 2 candles out like here and you burn it for a night. Now this is more of a 7-night kind of spell. So like a 7-day novena almost. So 7 nights, the first night, you can mark 7 marks on the candle so they're fairly even so that you know where to burn to. And you burn it down the first day and then you bring the candles a little closer and you burn it down again the second day. You know, visualizing what your life will be like with your new lover. Bring them a little closer, burn them down again, bring them a little closer, and each day they get a little closer till on the 7th day when they're at their closest. Now the cool thing with candle magic like this, and I would put them on a platter where they can kind of commingle as they melt, because then you can kind of see, like, what are you seeing? What images are you seeing? Who's commingling with who? Like, is the brown candle more over dominating the yellow? Is the yellow candle over dominating the brown? Or is it sort of an even mix? Because then you'll see who kind of is the leader in the relationship, or who, like, are you going to co-create and co-live in a very balanced kind of way? Is this one running away from this one, or is this one running away from that one? That sort of thing. So, and you can also look for different shapes and interpret those, like what they mean and whatnot, and what they mean to you is what's most important. So you can do that as well. You can also do it when you're wanting to break something apart. You can go the other way, but we won't get into that one yet. So that is how to do some basic love spell stuff. After you've done that, you then, you put out your candle. Never blow them out, snuff them out, because if you blow out your candle, short of birthday candles, that's the only exception, you'll break the spell. So you don't want to do that. So snuff it out or clap it out, but don't blow it out, because your breath carries a lot of energy, and your breath tends to be the thing that causes curses and hexes and whatnot. So you don't want to be putting a curse or a hex even accidentally onto your love spell. So that's why you snuff out candles. If you're doing a curse on someone, then you can spit out that candle, blow out that candle, whatever you want to do there. So that's just some guidance on how to do some spells, in particular love type spells. If you have any questions, put them down below in the comments below, and I will do my best to get to them and answer your questions. I hope this helped, and thank you for being with me. See you later. Bye.